Hello everyone, welcome back to English Classes Online. My name is Benjamin. Today's video is on learn the verb phrases and how to use them correctly. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Click on the bell icon as well so that whenever a new video goes live on this channel, you will be notified instantly. Let's dive into the lesson right away. So here we are going to look at what is a verb phrase. A verb phrase consists of a main verb and other elements known as auxiliary verbs. The head of a verb phrase is the verb, the word class used for talking about actions, events, and states. The verb phrase is a very important element within the clause or sentence as it carries information about tense, aspect, modality, mood, transitivity, and voice. The verbal phrase or the verb phrase consists of two functional parts, the main verb and the auxiliary verb. Now, we shall be looking at this in greater detail, all right? Now, let's look at the verb phrase at a glance. Here you can see quite clearly that the verb phrase has a definite structure, and that is the auxiliary verb plus the main verb. That gives you the verb phrase. For example, we have done the work. We have done the work. Now, when we look at this particular sentence, we have done the work, you will discover that the main verb is done, the auxiliary verb is have. So the verb phrase is have done. This is the verb phrase. We have done the work, all right? Now, there are various elements, various realizations within the verb phrase, various forms that we can look at. For example, within the verb phrase, you will find some modals such as will, shall, can, etc., followed by a base. What do we mean by this? All right. Now, when we have will, go. Shall go. Can go. All right. Should come. For example, these are all possibilities. When you have a modal verb, then of course you have a main verb, and the combination will give you a verb phrase. Will go, shall go, can go, then should come. These are all verb phrases, and it's a combination of a modal verb and a main verb. All right. Okay, so let's erase this so that we can look at other examples, other possibilities, how we can combine various forms in order to form the verb phrase. Now, we can look at the perfect forms, and in this case, we have a form of have. For instance, I have done the work. All right. So when you look at this, then you can see right away that the verb phrase here is have done. All right, have done. And then the modal verb is have, and the main verb is done. So you can look at the combination of these two verb forms will give you a verb phrase. Now, don't forget, it's really important that we are looking at the verb phrase, because the verb phrase is the mandatory element of the clause or sentence structure. What do we mean by mandatory element? We mean that without the verb, there is no sentence or there is no clause. For example, when you look at this sentence, I have done the work, if we remove the verb phrase, then it becomes meaningless. I, the work. Does it make any sense? Certainly, it does not. All right? So that's exactly what we can look at there. So here we can see exactly that a combination of the auxiliary verb and the main verb will give you a verb phrase, and without the verb phrase, the sentence is incomplete. So that is why it is called the mandatory element of the sentence or clause structure. Then another possibility is the progressive forms of the auxiliary. You know, that is forms of be followed by ing. All right. So in that case, let's look at some examples. All right. First of all, I want you to look at various forms of be. When you talk of be, there are various forms. Am, is, was, all right, are, were, been, being. All these are the forms of be. So when we talk of the forms of be, these are the various forms of be. And so in that case, if we take is, for example, and we say Rose is singing, all right, or singing a new song, for example. So in that case, when we look at this particular sentence, let's try to analyze it. Now, the verb phrase here is singing. Then the form of be is, all right? That's the form of be. And then the main verb is singing. So we have a combination of is and singing to form the verb phrase here. Rose is singing a new song, all right? So you can see it quite clearly there. Okay, so then the next is the passive forms. And in this case, we are taking forms of be, combining any of the forms of be with the past participle. Now, we have already used the present participle combined with a form of be here. So here, let's now look at combining a form of be with a past participle. Okay? And then a form of be so in this case, a new song was sung by Rose. So in this case, you can see the passive form. We only change this to a passive form. All right? A new song was sung by Rose. So when we look at this, when we analyze it clearly, what we find is was sung is the verb phrase. Was sung. Here we have is singing. All right? But here we are taking a form of be, and then we are taking a past participle, sung. All right? Then what if we now change this to something else so that you will be able to understand it quite clearly? All right, so let me try to rephrase this. A new song was composed by Rose. All right, so again here we want to look at was composed. This is the verb phrase was composed. A new song was composed by Rose. So here we are using the passive form, and the passive form enables us to form a verb phrase here. All right, here we have the active form, and we are combining the auxiliary with the present participle. The next is support auxiliary. And when we talk of support auxiliary, we are talking of the primary auxiliary verb do, do. There are various forms of do, like do, does, did, doing, done. These are the various forms of do. All right, so let's now take a form of do and use it to form a verb phrase here. And so what do we have? Junior has done his homework. Junior has done his homework. And then when we look at this, what we have is the verb phrase is has done. Has done. All right? Has done. Then we can as well use he is doing his homework. All right? Well, it is also possible that we use the support auxiliary in a different way. Now, let me give you an example. I do believe that God is real. So here again, you find that I am using the support auxiliary in a different way. I do believe. I do believe. And if we reconstruct this in form of a question, then we can say, do you believe? Do you believe that God is real? I do believe that God is real. So there are various ways of using the support auxiliary, and that is various forms of do. All right? You can say Rose does believe, or Rose does visit grandma every weekend. She does visit grandma every weekend. All right, so here we can see uh, the various main verbs. These are main verbs that we can always combine with any of the other forms to form a verb phrase. All right. Now, I want to believe that you have been able to master this, the verb phrase, and how we can combine various grammatical forms to form the verb phrase. All right. So right now, I want to show you something more about this. And so, well, let's try to erase so that we'll be able to see this quite clearly. All right. These were the marks we used in the previous place, so we have to erase them so that they won't obstruct what we want to look at here. All right. Okay, so here we are looking at verb phrases, and we want to look more at the structure of the verb phrase. Verb phrase structure. VP here stands for verb phrase, all right? Then the AUX stands for auxiliary, LEX stands for lexical verb, all right? So lexical verb, that's the word lexical is another name for main verb. And so when we look at here, in this example, the boy was hugging the dog. The boy was hugging the dog. And when we look at this, then the auxiliary verb is was, and the main or lexical verb is hugging. All right. Then let's try to give some more examples. The man was beating his wife. All right, so you can see, you can look at this and let's try to analyze it. Was beating is the verb phrase here. The auxiliary is was, and the main verb is beating. The man was beating his wife. The boy was hugging the dog. All right, so here, this is the subject, this is the verb, and then this is the object. So we have we have the SVO structure of the sentence. All right. So when we look at this, we discover that we have a subject, verb, object. All right. So that is exactly how the verb phrase functions within the sentence structure. Perhaps we can take one more example. The man has beaten his wife. Now, this is another way of forming the verb phrase. Here we are using, we are using the auxiliary, the has, which is the form of have, combining it with a past participle to form a verb phrase. Has beaten. The man has beaten his wife. So we still have the same subject, verb, object. All right. So this is the verb phrase structure. And so when we look at the structure of the verb phrase, we have the auxiliary combined with the lexical or the main verb that forms the verb phrase. Now, it is possible for us to have a structure that is more than two verb elements. The woman was being beaten by her husband. Now you can see here, when we analyze this, you discover that the verb phrase now has three verb elements instead of two. In all our previous examples, we have always had two. Was beaten, has beaten, but here we have was being beaten. So you see, a verb phrase can has two or three or sometimes even more, up to four verb elements can form a verb phrase. So you can take a look at the verb structure, and here you can see that this is auxiliary verb 1, this is auxiliary 2. No, okay, this is 1 and 2. But here, this is auxiliary, this is main verb. But here we have auxiliary verb 1, auxiliary verb 2, and then the main verb. All right, so we have two auxiliary verbs combined with a main verb to form a verb phrase in this particular sentence. All right, so let's now let's go further to look at another structure, which is a little bit more complicated than this. We want to look at the structure of the verb phrase in its more detailed form than this. Okay? Okay, so let's now go to picture 2. And so here we have verb phrase structure 2. And here you can see that we have the verb phrase here. All right. Then we have different combinations. All right. We have four auxiliary verbs. Verb 1, auxiliary verb 1, auxiliary verb 2, auxiliary verb 3, and auxiliary verb 4. And this is the main verb. All right. Might have been woken up. So this is a rather long and complicated structure here, but that gives you insight into the possibilities, you know, the kinds of verb elements that can combine to form a verb phrase. And it is important to understand that the verb phrase is the most important component of the English sentence or clause. Because the moment you remove the verb or the verb phrase, the sentence becomes a mere fragment without any reasonable meaning. All right. All right. So that's exactly the way it is. Now, I want us to wipe this before we move over to, all right. Yes, the essence of wiping this is to ensure that we have a clean screen. Now let's go back to verb phrases or the verb phrase at a glance. Of course, we have looked at this quite critically, and so we need to now look at the realizations of the elements. All right, we have to look at the realizations of the elements. The following classes and forms of verbs form the elements of the verb phrase. Of course, we have looked at them earlier, but we want to take a look at them. Now, within a verb phrase, you must have a main verb. For example, speak, work, take, run, eat. Now, can you make a sentence with any of this? I speak French. I speak English fluently. Well, when we use speak as a main verb alone in a sentence, we have just used the verb. But to form a verb phrase, we now have to combine the auxiliaries with the main verbs. Because here you can see that verb phrases can be formed how? By combining auxiliary verbs with the main verbs. So now look at the verb speak combining with the auxiliary can. And what do we have? Let's try to give some specific examples here. I can speak French. All right. So here you can see the combination here. Can and speak gives us a verb phrase. All right. Then let's look at other examples. Shall work. I shall work on the farm this evening. Has taken. All right. Mommy has taken an umbrella. Is running. Mary is running to the school. Will eat. Jack will eat all the food. Will eat. Have been working. The men have been working on the farm since morning. Have been working. Will have. Will have worked. All right. We can say by 12 noon, they will have worked for 6 hours. They will have worked on the farm for 6 hours. By 12, they will have worked. Would have spoken. All right. I would have spoken to them if I had met them. I would have spoken to them if I had met them. Or if I had met him, I would have spoken to him. would have been taken. All right, would have been taken. This money would have been taken by Rose if she had seen it. Would have been taken. Shall be eaten. Oh, yeah, all right. We shall be eating a native meal at Grandma's place this evening. We shall be eating. All right. We are being taken. All right. We are being taken. Various photographs of the stadium were being taken by reporters, or various photographs of the accident scene were being taken by eyewitnesses. We are being taken. All right, so now you can see exactly how the various elements that combine to form the verb phrases operate. All right, so we have actually looked at them, how we can combine the various elements to form the verb phrase. So here, let's attempt also to wipe this. All right, let's attempt to wipe this. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now let's take a look at one more thing. Verb phrases, how to use them. Let's now look at how to use the verb phrases. All right. In this case, we have to understand that the verb phrase is a combination of an auxiliary verb, which is also known as a helping verb, and a main verb. So in other words, when we have an auxiliary verb and we combine it with a main verb, what do we form? We form the verb phrase. All right, so that is how a verb phrase is formed. We have already seen it. We are just trying to recap what we have already learned. But here, let's take a few examples of how to use the verb phrase correctly. He has broken up with Nikki. So has broken up here is the verb phrase. And you can see that broken up is a phrasal verb, and then we combine it with an auxiliary verb. He has broken up with Nikki. Next, she might love me again. Might love, that is the verb phrase here. She might love me again. So you have a combination of might and love. Next, we have I have been waiting for a long time. Have been waiting is the verb phrase. I have been waiting for a long time. Next, we have we could have won the match. We could have won. So could have won is a verb phrase. The next example, I have been teaching English for 5 years. I have been teaching English for 5 years. Have been teaching is the verb phrase in this sentence. And the last example here is we might have been doing it wrong. So might have been doing is the verb phrase here. So this is exactly how we can use verb phrases correctly in English sentences. And this is where we are going to draw the curtain on today's video. I hope you have learned a lot, you have enjoyed today's video, and if actually you have enjoyed today's video, do like the video and share the video with your friends and relations. If you have not subscribed to this channel, the time has come for you to do so by clicking on the subscribe button below. You will find a red button tagged subscribe. Simply click on it and that will get you subscribed to this channel so that you will have free access to all the videos uploaded on this channel. Then the next thing you need to do is to click on the bell icon. You will find the image of a bell on below, and you simply click on it, and that will enable you to activate the notification system so that whenever a new video is uploaded on this channel, you will receive a notification instantly. You will be informed that yes, a new video has just been uploaded on this channel, and that's really beautiful, so that you won't miss any of the videos we upload on this channel. If you have any questions or any concerns or any suggestions, please do not hesitate to leave them on the comments section below. If you search the description section, you will see a number of related videos that you might find useful for your English learning. I also want to remind you that in addition to topics in English learning, we also teach content creation and content marketing on this channel. We teach you how to start your online business, how to make money online from the comfort of your home. You may ask, how can we conveniently combine teaching English with content creation and content marketing? The answer is simple. You see, language is a powerful tool for content creation. And we have discovered this secret that since we have this linguistic competence, since we have this proficiency in the use of the English language, we can use it as a powerful tool for creating content. And so we are combining language teaching with teaching content creation right here on this channel. And you will find a number of videos we have uploaded on content marketing, content writing, digital marketing. You know, all these are really very helpful because we have discovered that you know, you need to become an entrepreneur, and the best place to really do business now is online. And if you learn the techniques for creating good content, then of course you can establish a lucrative content business that will be earning you passive income. You will also learn how to create ebooks and how to publish them online so that you can sell them and earn income continuously. All this we teach here on this channel. So if you are interested in videos like that, then of course you need to kindly subscribe to the channel and also activate the notification bell. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for being part of today's video. See you in the next video, and goodbye for now.